Don't come into my restaurant in those filthy work clothes. There's no seat for a construction worker like you, so get out.
The sushi restaurant master chef raised his voice, trying to kick me out. I was more astonished than angry. Understood. Then I'll have to cancel our deal for now. The master chef tilted his head at my words, then glared at me.
I don't know what you're talking about, but get out quickly.
Apparently, this master chef really didn't realize who I was. As I was about to leave, a certain person entered the restaurant and spoke to the master chef. I saw that person's face and instinctively shook hands. My name is Franny Elwood. I'm working hard every day at Elwood Remodeling Company, which I inherited from my father. I'm still inexperienced, but many customers praise me for being as skillful as my predecessor. Today, I managed to handle a large remodeling contract for the first time, and I finally gained confidence in myself.
Was it tomorrow that you were going to eat at the master chef's restaurant that was recommended by a customer?
Yes, but if Dad were here, it would be obvious that I came to check it out. This time, it's a reservation for me alone.
When this job is over, you'll treat me to a meal, right?
I couldn't help but laugh at my father's hearty laughter. I haven't been able to repay him for all the help he's given me, so it wouldn't be bad to do something like this once in a while. By the way, this customer was referred to me by the person who gave me the large contract the other day. That person was the first customer to entrust me with all the arrangements, so I must have caused some trouble, but he always cheered me up, saying,
"A young and energetic girl is good."
Since it's a referral from such an important person, I have to work hard this time too. I must provide something satisfactory with even better skills than last time. I had already scheduled a day to give an estimate after taking a consultation from the customer over the phone. However, I have two peculiarities, and I always go to check the place in advance. One of those peculiarities is to see the actual condition of the customers using the restaurant. When it comes to estimates, we talk while sitting, and there may be habits and movement that I don't notice myself. To discern that, I deliberately go to check in advance of the estimate. And the other is not to reveal who I am during the inspection. If you're conscious of being watched, you cannot move naturally as usual. You would be nervous and you might try to move efficiently. From my perspective, wanting to repose by looking at the natural body, such small changes in movement were fatal. These 2 points make it very important for me to check in advance. Tomorrow is finally the important day for the inspection. I have consultations about remodeling from the other customers tomorrow, but I have left everything else to my father, except for one appointment. Since the restaurant reservation time is late, I should have plenty of time. I've heard that he's a skilled master chef from the customer who introduced me, and I can't wait. I haven't eaten sushi in a long time, and I was so happy that I was humming while working hard with the hand plane. The next day, I was in a rush, fearing I would be late for my reservation at the sushi restaurant. I had worn my work clothes to visit a client just in case, and it might have been the right decision. The client who wanted to discuss a remodel was elderly, and I had to explain the same details repeatedly, taking up time until a family member living with them returned home. If I hadn't been wearing my work clothes, they might not have understood that I was from Elwood Remodeling Company. I had planned to change into casual clothes before going to the sushi restaurant, but there was no time for that. I wasn't dirty at all from today's consultation, and although my appearance might be a bit off, I had no choice but to go as I was. Besides, the restaurant was fully reservation only, so if I missed today, I wouldn't be able to visit for an inspection before the estimate. After some hesitation, I reluctantly headed to the sushi restaurant in my work clothes. A 30-minute drive. I barely made it on time. Opening the door to the restaurant, a female staff member noticed me with the sound of the bell on the door and was about to guide me when Master Chef's loud voice echoed through the restaurant.
Hey, don't bother showing her in.
The female staff looked surprised, her eyes wide, glancing back and forth between my face and the master chef's. I was also confused, not understanding why he suddenly spoke to me that way. "Excuse me, I'm on time for my reservation. Is there any problem?" Without even looking at me, the master chef opened his mouth.
Don't come into my restaurant in those filthy work clothes. It'll ruin the reputation of the place.
I admit it was wrong of me not to change out of my work clothes, but I didn't do anything dirty at work today, and there's no dress code here. Before I could finish, the master chef glared at me and snapped.
Excuses won't help. We don't have seats for construction workers here. You'll bother the other customers, so get out of my restaurant.
The master chef's rude words and snorting laughter made me angry. But I calmed down when I saw the confused female staff member. Starting a fight here would only cause trouble for the restaurant and other customers. I bowed slightly to the master chef. "I understand your feelings. Then I'll have to cancel our deal for now." The master chef tilted his head, perhaps not understanding my words. He must be quite unintelligent, looking down on customers based on their profession. With a gesture, as if shooing away a bug, the master chef waved his hand.
Don't waste time talking nonsense, and you, don't just stand there. Get her out quickly.
The female staff member's shoulders shook, surprised by the sudden shift of blame. Seeing her face about to cry, I felt sorry for her and handed her a handkerchief from my bag. From what I could see, the master chef's intimidating behavior might be a daily occurrence. I was utterly disgusted and reached for the door to leave.
Sorry, dear customers. I apologize for letting an unpleasant pest into your sight and ruining your mood. The pest control is over, so now please enjoy yourselves.
My anger reached its peak at the master chef's triumphant laughter, and I turned around to face when I heard a voice from behind.
Oh, you are.
I turned to find Marginson, the first client I had ever handled. Sensing the strange atmosphere in the restaurant, Marginson asked if something had happened. Before I could answer, the master chef hurried over.
Sir, I'm sorry if I caused any inconvenience. There's nothing wrong. Besides, this customer is about to leave. Come, please have a seat here.
Wait, is Marginson your mentor? Master chef? I was surprised when the master chef referred to Marginson as his mentor. Marginson nodded affirmatively to my question.
Yes, that's right. This guy was incredibly slow to learn. It took a lot of effort to make him competent. Well, now he's running his own restaurant. My proud protege.
Marginson laughed, and the master chef joined in with a forced smile. It seemed Marginson was unaware of the master chef's true nature. While he acted humbly towards his master, Marginson, it appeared that the sense of liberation from becoming independent had led him to adopt a careless attitude towards his customers.
By the way, I'm the one who introduced her to your shop. Thanks to your remodeling, our work efficiency has improved significantly. And we're getting more compliments from the customers about the beautiful counter. Thanks for the great work.
Marginson takes my hand and shakes it, expressing his gratitude. I shake Marginson's hand back, feeling a bit shy. The master chef watches us with a pale face.
Wait a minute. Who is this girl?
The master chef's words made Marginson frown.
What do you mean by this girl? This person has helped me a lot. Didn't I just introduce you to this shop the other day? Isn't that why you came here today for a meeting?
About that, as of now, I have no dealings with this shop.
Wait, why?
Marginson is shocked by my words and raises his voice. He must not have expected this turn of events and wants to know why I stopped the transaction.
I'll discuss it with this person later, so don't worry, master. Please take a seat over here.
The master chef, finally realizing the gravity of the situation, tries to interrupt me, looking quite flustered. He makes a fuss, trying to pull Marginson away from me and guide him to his seat. I laughed inside at the master chef's desperate behavior as I explained to Marginson what happened earlier. Like I told Marginson, I took the request over the phone, so he probably didn't know I'm the daughter of Elwood Remodeling Company. But it's my fault for coming in work clothes.
I see. And then?
I thought that if I got involved with this shop, it might lead to big problems later on, so I decided to decline this time. At first, Marginson listens with a serious face, but by the time I finish speaking, his face turns bright red and he's trembling with anger. The master chef watches Marginson's reaction, his face turning pale, and he breaks into a cold sweat.
No way, dear customer. It seems there's been a misunderstanding because of my poor explanation. Of course we have a seat ready for you. Please have a seat.
The master chef's desperate excuses are in vain, and Marginson heads silently towards the exit. The master chef with his large frame runs after Marginson, causing dust to fly, and I end up coughing. The master chef continues to try to calm Marginson's anger, but Marginson ignores him completely. After a few minutes of trying to appease him, Marginson finally speaks. The master chef brightened his face, thinking he would be forgiven. But the words from Marginson were cruel to him.
Don't ever call me your mentor again. If people think you're my protege, it'll ruin my reputation. I introduced you to someone special who helped me because you were struggling with changing the interior of your shop. Now I feel humiliated and terrible.
With a cold expression, Marginson spoke, and the master chef seemed to freeze. His movements completely stopped. He had been desperately apologizing, but of course Marginson wouldn't forgive him. Pushing aside the master chef who was blocking the door, Marginson left the shop. I didn't want to stay any longer, so I followed Marginson. On my way out, I let out the words I had been holding back. You only apologized to Marginson and never said sorry to me. You even acted like I misunderstood everything on my own. Instead of changing the interior of the shop, you should fix your personality first. My final words left the master chef utterly dejected, and he collapsed to his knees. I handed a little money to the female waitress as an apology for the commotion and finally left the shop. I had planned to indulge myself at the restaurant today, but my mood was ruined, so I decided to eat a lot at a cheaper place. I wanted to eat heartily rather than dine elegantly. I also told my father the name of the place we were going to and called him over. He seemed suspicious at the quick contact, but the moment he saw my face, he seemed to understand the situation.
It can't be helped. Today's on me,
he said, putting his arm around me and cheerfully patting my back. After we had eaten enough, my father asked what had happened. I hesitated for a moment, but gave in to my father's worried eyes and slowly began to tell him about the day.
It seems like you had a terrible customer.
My father is usually a strict person. His strictness comes from wanting me to take over the business properly. I've even been scolded at work for complaining, so being treated this kindly was a first for me, and I felt tears welling up.
But that master chef, if he picks a fight with Marginson, he won't survive.
What? Is he that great of a person?
Of course, his protege has opened many famous shops. Marginson's own restaurant is a place where celebrities sneak in, and you can't underestimate his influence in the industry.
I was astonished, not knowing that Marginson was such an important person. I had thought he was no ordinary person, but I never expected him to be such a big shot.
If you anger him, you might be shunned in the industry. The life of that shop might be short-lived.
Hearing those words, I thought the master chef was just unlucky, and I felt relieved that I had made the right decision to break off the deal at that time. A little while later, I heard from Marginson that the master chef's restaurant had gone out of business. Apparently, a customer who was present that day was furious and posted a video on social media of the master chef ridiculing me. The customer was in the middle of an important business dinner, and the other party was from a construction company. He posted the video with a caption saying,
My credibility plummeted for choosing such an unpleasant restaurant.
And it went viral. People who saw the video identified the Master Chef's restaurant, and it spread further, with critical comments piling up in the reviews. Furthermore, the female waitress from that time apparently sued the Master Chef for harassment. It seemed my intuition was right, and she had been treated terribly all along. On top of that, once people in the industry heard that Marginson had cut ties with the Master Chef, they stayed away, and the Master Chef was forced to close down crying. All that was left for the Master Chef was compensation for harassment. Even if he wanted to restart in the same industry, regaining lost trust would not be easy. Marginson said he would overlook it if I forgave the Master Chef, but since there was still no apology, I politely declined. Given the situation, the Master Chef might come yelling that it's my fault before even apologizing. Well, if that happens, I'll just chase him away with the body I've built through daily workouts. As for me, since the work clothes I wore that day had the name of my shop on them, I received a series of consultation calls. People were impressed with how I carefully assessed customers and committed to my work. While the Master Chef was driven to ruin, that video turned out to be a blessing for me. Thanks to the video, my schedule is booked for several months ahead. With the increased income from the additional requests, I plan to take my father out for a meal this time.